You know by now, of course, that last week, the orange vomit, I'm referring to the bastard who hides in his nest, except when he comes out to address his fellow Nazis, at Mar-A-Lago, the leading candidate for the Republican nomination for president in 2024. You know what I mean. Anyway, the orange vomit had dinner at his Winter Palace last week with one of this country's most disgusting, vile, putrid white supremacist and anti-Semite. Yeah, he's both. He's a white supremacist and he's an anti-Semite. How's that for a combination? Nick Fuentes. This guy does a podcast, Saint Nick. In a recent episode on his podcast, he called, and he's done this several times, he called, quote, for the military to be sent into black neighborhoods, end quote. For the military to be sent into black neighborhoods. And he also is demanding, quote, that Jews leave the country, end quote. Send the military into black neighborhoods and Jews leave the country. This is Donald Trump's dinner guest. This is the Christian Terrorist Party in the United States, formerly the Republican Party. This is their core message. The core message. Did you hear anybody categorically take the orange vomit to task, anybody in the Republican leadership, for having this filthy piece of shit, Nick Fuentes, and his pet dog, Kanye West, into dinner over the weekend? I think it was Thanksgiving dinner. What a bunch of fuckers. I mean, this is just so obscene. Fuentes is a Holocaust denier, and he says that the murder of Jews during World War II, he compares it to baking cookies, the ovens that claim the lives of millions upon millions of Jews. This filthy fucking subhuman Nick Fuentes compares that to baking cookies. He was involved in the white Nazi march in Charlottesville, Virginia, a couple of years ago. During that violent demonstration, Fuentes screamed, "You can call us racist, white supremacists, Nazis, and bigots, but you will not replace us. The rootless," he added this, "the rootless transnational elite knows that a tidal wave of white identity is coming." End quote. You dumb son of a bitch. You know, it's people like this. You ever seen a picture of Nick Fuentes? He looks like if you coughed in his direction, it would knock him over. Just a skinny little fucking white dude with a goofy look on his face. You know, it's somebody like that just deserves to have the shit slapped out of him, you know? His pants should be taken down. His mommy should be called into the room. She should take him across her lap and take a goddamn canoe paddle or a ping pong paddle and just smack his ass bloody. Because that's what he's acting like. So in response to the orange vomit, having dinner with this piece of subhuman shit, the Republican leadership, Christian fascist leadership, not a word. Well, what do we expect? The Christian demons who are going to be running the U.S. House of Representatives, who are very prominent in America now, politically speaking, and other ways too. The Christian demons hate Jews, and they hate people of color. And they hate women, and they hate immigrants, and they hate Muslims. But Jews and people of color, these white demons, led by the head demon, Donald Jesus Trump, are filled with this kind of poison, and they want everybody to feel the same way that they do. Kevin McCarthy, that piece of human shit who is going to be elected as the next House Speaker, never said a word. McCarthy knows Fuentes and his filthy views. And according to Judd Legum at Popular Information, in February, the Congress bitchwoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Republican of Georgia, and Congressman Paul Gosar, a fuckhead Republican from Arizona, these two scum participated in a white terrorist convention hosted by Nikki Fuentes. McCarthy at the time said, or told reporters that the association with Fuentes of these two ass fucks, the bitch Marjorie Taylor Greene and the fuckhead Paul Gosar, their association with Fuentes, according to McCarthy, was, quote, appalling and wrong because Republicans should not be associated anytime, any place with somebody who is anti-Semitic, end quote. But McCarthy, because Donald Trump removed McCarthy's testicles in one of those meetings where McCarthy went down on his hands and knees, and after servicing Trump paid him back by removing his testicles. Because of that little meeting, Mr. McCarthy has not said anything publicly about Trump's dinner with Fuentes. And Judd writes, quote, his office did not respond to a request for comment, end quote. Well, of course not. Why would this cowardly little piece of shit, Kevin McCarthy, this grinning monkey, why would he? He didn't have to respond to anybody. So what's going on, of course, with the Republicans' very small majority in the House, and the fact that the Christian Demon Party, the old Republican Party, has been riven into maybe 3 or 4 parts, and there will be blood on the floor when this shit's over. Republican blood, Christian demon blood. Because of all that, McCarthy knows he's got to suck up to people like the bitch Marjorie Taylor Greene and the asshole Paul Gosar and the rest of these scum in order to get what McCarthy wants. He will sell, he already has, sold his soul to Satan so he can be Speaker of the House. McCarthy will do anything to be Speaker of the House. He would murder his own children if he has any. He would cut off his wife's head if he has one. He would sexually violate his own mother if Trump told him to, if the reward was Speaker of the House. This is how deep into the abyss of insanity Kevin McCarthy has sunk. Good God. McCarthy's claim that he's appalled by Fuentes is horseshit because he's so willing to look the other way if his Lord and Master, Donald Jesus Trump, tells him to. McCarthy will do anything that Trump tells him to. And as Judd points out, other Republican scum, these Christian demons, the leaders of the corpse that is the Republican Party, they're doing the same thing, similar approach. Back in February, after the bitch Marjorie Taylor Greene, the demon bitch, and the asshole Paul Gosar participated in Fuentes' conference, the turtle stuck his head up. Mitch McConnell pulled his head up off the piece of lettuce he was gnawing on, and he said, quote, there's no place in the Republican Party for white supremacists or anti-Semitism, end quote. Oh, fuck you, Mitch. What are you talking about? And in response to Trump's little din-din with Fuentes and this insane fucking black man, Kanye West, the turtle has said nothing publicly and did not respond to a request by Popular Information for comment. because McConnell also needs the backing of the Orange Vomits cadre of loyalists in the Senate to maintain his leadership post. He's not going to be the Senate Majority Leader, but he wants to be the Senate Minority Leader because he is a scummy little fucker, the turtle. So anything that Trump says, the turtle will do. Don't be fooled by his denunciations and other horse shit. That was a couple of years ago, denunciations of Trump. The turtle found out very quickly that he better not say anything negative about this scummy son of a bitch, Donald Trump, or he's going to lose his position. And then we have Congressman Jim Banks. He's another Christian terrorist from Indiana, a Trump loyalist who's thinking about he may run for the Senate in 2024. But he stuck his head up out of the slime to make a nasty comment about the bitch Marjorie Taylor Greene and the asshole Paul Gosar last February. He said, Jim Banks said, quote, "It's unbecoming for a member of Congress to speak at an event that's promoted by anyone who espouses those views," end quote. Isn't that milquetoasty horse shit? I mean, it really is. But Mr. Jim Banks has remained silent ever since the Orange Vomit broke bread with this little fucker named Fuentes, the anti-Semite, and his dog, Kanye West, over the holidays. And when asked for comment about all this shit by Judd Legum at Popular Information, Jim Banks' office did not respond. Doesn't have to. Fuck him. You know, he doesn't have to. Hey, well, who's this Judd Legum? What's Popular Information? Oh, some left-wing. Fuck him. And other members of the Senate Republican leadership, John Thune of South Dakota, John Bear Asshole of Wyoming, Joni Ernst of Iowa, Shelley Capito of West Virginia. None of them have said a filthy goddamn word about Trump's suck-up to this Nazi little prick Fuentes. Not a word. And, of course, that goes for the rest of the Republican House leadership, too. This ugly-looking fucker, Steve Scalise. Where did this guy, Jesus Christ, how would you like to wake up in the morning and have to look at Steve Scalise? Oh, Republican Louisiana. And then you have Tom Emmer Ducks, Republican of Minnesota, and Elise Stefanik, Republican in New York, and Richard Hudson, Republican of North Carolina. Those are all members of the Christian terrorist House leadership. And not one of these bitch bastards have said a word about Trump's dinner with these two morons, Nick Fuentes and his pet dog, Kanye West. Jesus Christ. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. You know, the Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.